Absent-Minded Gamer here, and we are back for episode 21 of 5 Random Airports and Airfields. And this time we are going to call this World War II Pacific Edition. And what we're going to do this time around is go to 5 different air bases that either still exist or no longer exist within Flight Simulator. Actually, I think all 5 of these are no longer in operation, but there are still runways and structures. So we're going to do a little urbex scene, and kind of like what we did in the last video. And I'm going to talk about these locations. So let's just jump in and go. So first up is going to be Johnston Atoll Airport. This base was constructed in 1941, and it operated until 2005. And then the entire island, or the actual airstrip, was shut down. This base during the war was originally built with a 4,000-foot runway, and then it was increased in size to 6,000 feet and ultimately went to 9,000 feet before they ceased using it. Now if you look at it, you can still see where the runways and taxiways and all that wonderful stuff would have been. Now, I don't know how accurate these textures are in Flight Simulator, but the actual part of the runway does disappear. And I don't know if that means this whole area became windswept, or the water came in and washed it out, or it just didn't generate the photoreal scenery isn't presenting this correctly. So anyways, let's take a look here. You can still see where many of the operations areas were, and where some of the structures were. And what you'll also notice is that this base was a refueling station during the war for both aircraft and submarines. So these areas over here would be your docks for the submarines, boats, ships, and whatnot. So there's quite a lot to see here, and it would be interesting to see this all in real life, just to see what is still here. Now, I did see this building in a picture, so this building is still standing, and that must have been a modern structure built when they were using the runway for commercial flights that were using stopping point if need be. By 1947, over 1,300 B-29s and B-24s had utilized this island at some point. So it was quite an operation. It was quite a hub of operations for the military during the war effort. I find this all very interesting, and I've got in here with the Cub. And that's what we're going to use for our short little flight that we usually take. So why don't we just go ahead and do that, and then take a look at the island from the air. Alright, the great thing about this airplane is it does not need a lot of space to take off with. And we got the Tundra tires, so our plane is halfway protected. are structures on some of these other islands as well. What their purpose was, I don't know. I don't know if there's people that live on some of these islands. It's all very possible. Have nice little vacation homes set up on. But from what I've read, most of these are nature preserves now. So anything you're seeing here is probably just left over from World War II. With the exception of that building, which we think is probably left over from when they used this as an emergency stop for commercial airliners up until 2005. But I could be wrong, so there is that. Can you imagine seeing B-29s parked out on that tarmac? B-24s, submarines in the port. Just what a different world this all had to have been. See, as you look around, like there you have this large area down here. That was probably some kind of port for ships, a refueling area for ships, maybe. Could have been a hardened cover for the submarines. I don't know. Look, like right here, right down below the aircraft and over the land area, there was quite a bit of infrastructure right in there. So it would be interesting to see some pictures of the buildings and whatnot over there. And those pictures are probably out there. I did a lot of looking. I saw some pictures, but I was really just looking more for history than I was anything. Alright, let's go ahead and get us put down so we can go to the next one. I love the way the water textures look in Flight Simulator. A lot of wind coming off that ocean. All right, next up is going to be Palmyra Atoll Airfield, and this is going to be Paul Lincoln, Paul Adam, and this was formerly known as Palmyra Naval Air Station, and it was built in 1942. And this particular base actually housed 6 B-17s. They were stationed there as part of the Hawaii Air Force's Task Force Group number 8. This airfield was in operation between 1941 and it looks like, I would say, I could not find a shutdown date for this particular air base. It was 1941 to, I'm assuming, probably 1944 or 5. But there was little information on this particular airstrip. I do know that the runway is 5,581 feet. Flight Simulator, I believe, says this is dirt. This is actually, it looks like asphalt or concrete or whatever it is. But the airfield is now private, and it requires special permission to land and take off here. Probably from these folks over here that have some property on the island. And some rather rich folks at that. So there isn't a whole lot to see here as far as there would be for structures that would have been military. This is the only thing I could see as being what's left of the airbase, and there would have been a naval air station, and no structures, just what's left of what would have been the taxiway and the tarmac, and where structures once stood. There's this random default building here, but I don't think that's placed correctly. Check out that windsock. So we're going to be in the Cessna 152 for this flight. Airport, the actual runway is huge. And what information I could find on it was that it was used to B-17 bombers. I may be incorrect about the dirt statement. But anyways, let's take a look and see what we can see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that windsock shouldn't be there. You know, you look at this and you can't help but wonder what it must have been like to have been stationed on a remote island like this. But then again, you would have been under the constant threat of a Japanese attack all the time. So it probably was not that much fun. But still, it's pretty nice looking here.
Center Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra is type Cessna 152 2 miles southwest of Papa Lima Papa Alpha 700 feet. Request flight following.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Center. Squawk 7242.
Squawk 7242 Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra.
Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra radar contact 2 miles west of Papa Lima Papa Alpha 700 feet. Altimeter 29.81.
Roger, Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra.
Alright, well that's going to do it for Palmyra. Let's see what's next. Next up is going to be Tern Island. Tern. And the IACO code is PHFS, Paul Henry Frank Sam. And this particular airfield was built in 1942 and operated until 1943. It is a 3,300 foot runway, and this is pretty much what you see here. You could still see some remnants of structures. This was the halfway point between Midway and Hawaii. So this was an emergency stopover point if planes had to make a landing or get fuel or do what they needed to do during the war. But you can still see the structures here. The island, whether it's still in use for anything, I have no idea. Flight Simulator still shows it as an airport, but judging by what I'm seeing here, it probably isn't much of anything. But there's also a float plane strip here right next to this particular runway, so you can actually you can land float planes here also. This island is on the French frigate shoals. There isn't much to see from here. It's all water. So this would have been a pretty lonely place if you were here. But I don't even know if we're going to go for a flight on this one. I think we're just going to take a look at the runway and call it good, because there is nothing else to look at here. I'm assuming those round circles would have been the fuel drums. Interesting little piece of history here. Alright, well, I think we're going to move on from that one. Still an interesting place, and if you're taking a flight from Midway to Hawaii, this is a nice place to stop. Stop and enjoy the scenery. Stop and enjoy the ocean. How lonely it must have felt to sit here and be on this island. Alright, well that's going to do it for this one. On to the next. Next up is going to be Northwest Guam. This will be Northwest Guam Air Force Base. And this is one you'll have to find by coordinates, or you can simply go to Andersen Air Force Base and fly to this location. But it's just a hop, skip, and a jump from Andersen. Andersen is right over there. So I chose this one because of its history and of course its closure. Much of what the base was is still there. It appears to be the road networks, some of the buildings, and it's actually, you could still use it in Flight Simulator if Flight Simulator recognized it as an airport. This air base was actually home to the 315th Bombardment Wing and the 23rd Fighter Group. The base was in operation from 1945 to 1949. And again, I will post those coordinates on the bottom of the screen for the video. But there is quite a bit to see on this island. And I'm assuming that much of this was all related to the military at one point. And since it has become abandoned or no longer used, much of what you're seeing is for civilian use, the buildings and whatnot. As you can see, Flight Simulator does want to draw the texture, draw some of the buildings. So, my guess is as good as yours as what they were and what they're supposed to be. But this took up a lot of real estate. So if you had this airbase here and then you have Anderson over there, your footprint's going to be quite huge on this island. And you can tell that much of the road network has a definite military structure to it. That is going to be Northwest Guam Air Force Base, or what was Northwest Guam Air Force Base. So let's go ahead and jump into our plane. We're back over here at Anderson waiting to take off. We'll come out over here and fly over this area. We may even try to land here. So let's just go ahead and jump on in. Those clouds look kind of vicious, don't they? A lot to see on Guam. And I also noticed that the modern Air Force Base here, Anderson, has a lot to see here as well. There is a lot of information available on Guam and this particular airfield. Now, Guam does require that you find it by coordinates, and I think I said that already, so I won't repeat myself. Now, realistically, you would probably land at Anderson Air Force Base, but if you're interested in the history like I am, Northwest Guam Air Force Base is still worth a look at. I mean, you could tell it was made for smaller airplanes, World War II era planes. And it would sure be interesting
leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
To see the buildings on the abandoned
Anderson Tower
airfield
Alpha
itself.
Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra frequency change. Oakland Center Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra is type T65 miles northwest of Anderson, 2,100 feet. Request flight following.
Lot to see on Guam too, so get a chance, check this area out.
Squawk 6717 X-ray Golf Sierra.
X-ray Golf Sierra radar contact 6 miles northwest of Anderson, 1,900 feet. Altimeter 29.88.
See, there's a gate there in front of that road down there.
Roger, X-ray
So I'm
Golf
wondering, maybe this is all still military, or abandoned military. I don't know. It's raining. Oh, cool. Clear up my allergies. And if you go looking for this particular airfield and just do a Google search for it, you will find images of what it looked like during World War II. That was a horrible landing. Alright, well there we are. That is it for Guam Northwest Guam Air Force Base. Pretty cool. Alright, on to the next. And lastly, and certainly not least, is going to be PMDY, Midway Easter Island. This is going to be Paul, Mary, David Young, and this is going to put us in Midway. And the reason I saved this one for last is because I forgot that I had all this cool World War II scenery at this old airbase. And you can get this scenery package on flightsim.to, I believe. But it's something that I added couple years ago, right when Microsoft Flight Simulator came out, and I forgot all about it, so I was pleasantly surprised when I opened this up. So we're going to just take a look around the island and see what the scenery package has to offer and actually see it the way it was. So here we go. First thing you'll notice, it has 3 runways and squadrons of B-17s here and B-24s. And then here's your fighter, or this would be your dive bomber squadrons. Now I'm not sure if what was stationed here is accurate or not, but I would assume so, given that this was a major player during World War II. But I love that this scenery is included. I love this scenery, and hats off to whoever did it. I don't remember the file name. I don't remember who did it, but you can find it. Just do a Google search for PMDY in flightsim.to, and you should be able to get the file if you don't have it already. Now, I would assume this is probably what it looked like during World War II. Or pretty close to that. And even PB-wise. Excellent scenery. And this scenery actually doesn't just cover one island. There's a gun emplacement. More gun emplacements. I believe it covers the other island as well. You have shipping traffic here that is military related, which is really cool because it really adds to the ambiance of the area. Well, somebody's going to be mad there. Even submarine docks. Check that out. Supply ships. Landing craft, your fueling stations, or fuel drums, or yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. And then there's the more infrastructure of the base, headquarters, operations, whatnot. But it is awesome. And if you don't have this scenery file, get it. Because if you like flying on the Pacific, this is just too cool to not have it. And it's free. So there's that. Alright, well, we're going to jump into the P-51 for this flight. And we're going to go check this place out from the air. So let's go. Alright, we're ready to go. Everything's fired up. Let's jump into the cockpit. Alright, let's get going here. This area is a little hard on frame rates, so just be prepared for that.
Center November Lima 44727 is type 2 miles east of Papa Mike Delta Yankee 300 feet. Request flight following.
November Lima 44727 Center. Squawk 1071.
Squawk 10711727.
727 radar contact 1 mile southeast of Papa Mike Delta Yankee 1,300 feet. Altimeter 30.24.
Roger 727.
The only thing I love about flying in the Pacific are all these colors. It is absolutely gorgeous from the air. This base was in operation in 1941 and was, of course, a major hub of operation throughout the war. I love the addition of the old World War II ships. I had never picked these up. They had them on sale for the P-51 and the other plane that we just saw in the other video. I can't, or not the other video, the last airport, the Texan. And I saw they had them for $6 and some odd cents. And you know what? I like the P-51 and I like the other plane. They're both decent aircraft. For the price, they're decent aircraft. Lots to see here, so you know you could spend a good amount of time checking things out and even just identifying the different vessels and airplanes, whatnot. Great scenery file. All right, let's get lined up for our landing. Patrol boat there. Come back in on 25? Can't tell. Yeah, 25. We'll come in on 25. Yep. You know, you almost need to look out the side, which is probably indicative of this aircraft, to be able to see in front of you. 'Cause that nose is so long. That's alright. I think we got it this time. Alright. Alright, well, hey, that's going to do it for this episode of 5 Random Airports and Airfields. I hope you enjoyed it. I think next week we're going to return to a simpler format for the time being, because I have some things going on. So we're going to just kind of go back to it old school. But I think I'm enjoying doing this. So I like finding the abandoned places, and I like looking to see what they look like in Flight Simulator. I think it's kind of interesting. So maybe next time we'll go simple, and then time after that we'll go back to doing stuff like this. But if I've inspired you to go and check out any one of these airfields or fly one of these planes, then hey, I've done my job. And I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Again, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. And have a great day. Alright, well, nobody left me a parking space. We'll just park right here. I forget it's a tail dragger. I don't think they'd appreciate me parking so close to that gun emplacement, but okay. That's it.